I'm not going to try to say two things that I don't necessarily feel articulate enough to say, but I'm going to try. And the second one will introduce our next topic, which is about the Democrats and the 2028 candidates. As you know, I had a professional connection to Charlie Kirk, and this has hit me very hard. And it's not a great place for a journalist to be in, right? It's just not great for me to be this emotional about the whole thing. And I'm really interested in Sunday. It's Sunday morning. Many of the 60,000 people, I think they're going to fill the stadium, are people of faith. And this event will have a lot of elements that will be like a church service. But most church services aren't in football stadiums with 60,000 people. And many of the speakers, like Tucker and the vice president and the president, are going to be giving red meat speeches. I'm pretty Stephen Miller, right? So you try to think about, and Dan is brilliant in bringing up the Wellstone event. Those of you who aren't familiar with it, it was a memorial service, but it turned into a very intense red meat event, or blue meat, if you want to use the metaphor. But this is 60,000 people outdoors on a Sunday morning. The tone of that thing is going to be extraordinary, and I think it's going to toggle back and forth between spiritual and red meat. And to Sean's point, you people who don't see the political potential of this are missing something big. And I was in D.C., not in the grassroots, but people understand on the right what's happening here. Now, the second point I want to bring up, and again, it's still forming in my mind. Talked about a little bit on two-way tonight last night. Governor Bashir was just on CNN. I don't know if we have a clip of that or not. If we do, you'll let me know. Governor Shapiro spoke yesterday. Gavin Newsom spoke yesterday.
Barack
Obama, not on camera, unfortunately. Here, I'll make the point after we watch. Play Governor, if this is Bashir, play Bashir, but then play Newsom, and then I want to make one more point and go to you guys. So go ahead, play whatever it is you guys have, Bashir or Newsom, and then play the other one.
What are you weighing as you consider the question if you should run for president in 2028?
Well, right now, I'm trying to be a voice of reason in the chaos, especially after last week, to be a voice of humanity over partisanship. Next year, head of the Democratic Governors Association, we've got a lot of races to run. After that, we're going to sit down, my family and I, and we're going to look at whether or not I'm a candidate that could heal this country. Now, there's a lot that's going to need to be repaired after this administration, but the most important thing to the United States is that we're able to turn down the temperature, to make sure that neighbors aren't yelling at neighbors anymore, to come back together as Americans, to live out that Pledge of Allegiance where we pledge that we're not just one nation under God, but the next word is indivisible. We've got a lot of healing to do, and if I'm a candidate that can do that, then it's something that we will take a close look at. If it's someone else, I don't mind lining up behind them because I care about this country a lot more than I care about any title.
Okay, Governor Newsom did like a telethon last night to raise money for the redistricting effort, and he talked quite a bit. Some Politico compared him to Jerry Lewis. That'll be lost on younger viewers and listeners here. But play, if you would, Governor Newsom from last night.
It was said by a number of people, this was not the fight we chose. But I think what you just said was even more powerful. I don't think Trump for a second
talking about redistricting us to fight here
back like we're fighting back. And that's why failure is not an option. It is not an option. I mean, I can't even conceive of the impact if we run short. We can't run the 90-yard dash on this. I mean, 2026, if we limp into 2026, we're in real trouble. So we can build the kind of momentum. 2026 begins this November, and it's November 6th. But as Pete and others just said, it's really October 6th because those ballots land in people's mailbox in just a few weeks. Early voting is October 6th. It ends on November 6th. And that's the opportunity for folks to remind everybody the power of early voting, the power of emulation, meaning emulate kind of the things you heard here tonight and the kind of energy and the caring and daring that so many people shared tonight, and to make sure that we don't dream of regretting. We got to put everything out on the line because this is about holding the line and it's about holding up this democracy.
Okay, a few things. First of all, I just see that Vice President Vance did an interview with Jesse Waters that airs tonight, so mark that on your calendar. So again, talking about for a lot of Americans, talking about redistricting now seems a little off key, right? It's important. You speak to control the House, but it doesn't have the emotion and passion and resonance that the thing for Charlie does. And in listening to all these Democrats, here's the point I want to make. And again, it's not going to be very articulate because I'm still thinking it through. But Dan, first, you got the Republican Party now, then MAGA, very focused. We are going to take the tragedy of Charlie's death and we're going to turn it into grassroots organizing and energy and government action. And what the Democrats are saying is you're going overboard. But unlike on abortion, where the Republicans say, well, we're going to change the subject, we're going to talk about late term abortion or we're going to whatever, like the Democrats really don't have anything to say about this except objection to what they consider to be Pam Bondi or the president. Like they're trying to speak about this in a way that diffuses the Republican asymmetrical advantage. I just don't have my arms around that. Like, how do you talk about this? If this is an issue in the midterms and beyond, how do you talk about this if you're a Democratic leader in a way that's both good for the country and good politics for the Democratic Party?
Well, I think, look, on some level, Mark, I think that you do what you're doing. I think the Republicans, I think what's happened in the last 48 hours is the Democratic Party has woken up. I think they were so stunned and taken aback. Forget the far crazies on social media that were cheering. The leadership of the party, the vast majority of Democrats were horrified and stunned at what happened to Charlie Kirk. And then they saw, again, this is politics, big boy sport, and you don't let a crisis go to waste. And all of a sudden they saw what the administration was doing and saying, and they just became kind of livid at the just outrageous hypocrisy of Republicans. And so I agree, MAGA has woken up. They had an intensity problem going into the midterms. We didn't have an intensity problem at all. In fact, if anything, it was too intense. The party was a little out of control. I actually think now Democrats are getting even more motivated by what has been happening in the last few days from Republicans, from what they're saying, from the president's interview, even J.D. Vance's, filling in on the podcast and what some administration officials said, who then started walking stuff back. Even Republicans criticized what some of them said as just utterly outrageous. Pam Bondi was outrageous. I mean, it was absurd. And so I think that what Josh Shapiro did, I thought was phenomenal. I thought Barack Obama, adding his voice was good. I thought Bashir was good. Mark, I think we just say, look, everyone's got to tone it down. You speak in a more measured way. And I think by next November, the midterms are going to be more about the real lives of real people than this. It will fire up bases, but the middle that decides elections, I don't think that this is going to be what moves them.
Sean.
So two things. Let me start with advice that I would give to Gavin Newsom, but I think the problem is he can't take it. And what I mean by that is I don't think the Democratic base wants to hear what the smart, maybe general election phrase would be. Gavin Newsom, despite everything, and again, I'm trying to be analytical, so everyone on the right, please don't attack me. But if I were Gavin Newsom, I would say, you know what? I actually did talk to Charlie Kirk. I do engage in those discussions. I'm the only one of the Democrats that actually will have people that I disagree with and have a civil discussion because I think we need to have those. I've been doing it. I think we need to do more of it, which is why Charlie Kirk was one of the first guys on my podcast. So I am the only one who's actually shown.
He said a lot. He has
said that earlier in the week here.
Right. A little bit.
But I think it's the Democratic Party doesn't want to hear that right now.
Yeah.
That's my take. Okay.
Yeah.
So again, I don't mean to.
Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, okay.
Okay. And that's why I'm saying I will say you're like maybe you're right. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I don't get the sense. That's probably a better way to say it. But the problem with this, and I say this respectfully, Dan, I'm not saying you, but like when the left says we all need to tone it down. The problem is that during the Black Lives Matter riots, the phrase "silence is violence" was prominent in the movement. There is a belief, and prior to that clip where Bashir was on with media personality Kate Baldwin at CNN, she asked him whether or not these polls that reveal there's more violence and she should say anything, and refused to answer the question. The bottom line is it's not, we've talked about this the last couple of days. This isn't a one-time poll. That is a view of many people on the far left, that they believe that they have a right to use violence as a means of getting to their ends. And we see that in the Tesla dealerships where you're throwing rocks, and we've seen the Charlotte incident down there where there's no sense of calling it out. And until the Democratic Party leaders are willing to say, we condemn violence at any level, they won't do it because their base actually thinks it's the right thing to do.
No, Sean, every single Democrat, I mean, this is where the blue blood is boiling in our party. To say that no one has called out violence in the Democratic Party is utterly outrageous. Every single Democrat has said violence is unacceptable.
Want more great clips like that? I've got an idea. Hit the subscribe button, be part of the two-way community, never miss a clip, and you can always watch our full episodes, join them live, go to twoway.tv.